Chapter 12 Black Beauty. Warm up. Have you seen horses? How far do you think they can run? In a far-away land in England lived a farmer who had a beautiful farm. Farmer was fond of all his animals, but his favorite was Beauty. Beauty was a beautiful and a kind horse. Beauty is cared by the kind farmer Gray, who helps him understand the nature of human beings towards animals. Beauty is treated the best at the farm of Farmer Gray, who was thoughtful and cared for him deeply. But Beauty's happiness was short-lived. Beauty was sent to Square Garden at Birtwick Park, where he meets other horses, a fierce and spunky Ginger, and a kind-hearted pony, Merrylegs, who loved children. All these animals are cared by John Malay and Square Garden's family, especially his lovely wife. Beauty loved the company of his new friends. One day, as Beauty was walking around the street outside Birtwick Park, he noticed some horses not being treated the way he was. Some were being used to pull carriages, while their owners whipped them with all their might. Some were used to take big loads of luggage, while the horses panted for breath but were not allowed to stop. Beauty could clearly see that all these horses were depressed and just wanted to run away from all this torture. All this mistreatment made Beauty doubtful about humans. Everything is not as lovely as I thought. Don't their masters know that they feel pain if they are treated like that? Asked Beauty. Not all masters realize that even animals are living beings as they are, said Ginger. Well, there's one thing we do understand from all this. Humans can either be a horse's best friend or their worst enemy, said Beauty. Beauty was happy with his family. But again, this happiness was only short-lived as Mrs. Gordon fell ill. She will have to be taken to a place with a warmer climate, said Mrs. Gordon's doctor. Beauty heard their conversation and told this to Ginger and Merrylegs. I don't want to leave this place. I like it here. The grass, the stable, the little children, said Merrylegs sadly. I know, but if our masters think this is the best for Mrs. Gordon, we will stay with them happily wherever they take us, said Beauty, with a ray of hope shining in his heart. As they gathered and packed up their luggage, the Square Garden family and horses left their estate in London to shift to a warmer part of the city. The new place was not that bad. At least here, Beauty still had the same family and friends who cared and loved him deeply. But Beauty's life could never stand a lengthy time of happiness. One night, John was enjoying with his friends at a bar, but he did not realize that he was too drunk. Ignorant of his behavior, John started to be unkind to Beauty by jumping on top of him and pulling his robe on Beauty too hard. It was getting difficult for Beauty to see anything on the road. Beauty did not realize the bump and the edge of a poorly constructed road, and the drunk John kicked Beauty too hard, which caused both of them to fall on the rough patch. This accident caused Beauty to fall over John, which immediately killed him. Beauty stared at John's lifeless body, even tried to move it with his nose. But John just did not move on his own. Then carefully, Beauty somehow put John's body on him and took him home. This made Beauty sad for the rest of his life. He was shifted down in his rank from being a royal horse and sold to other owners who could use him for whatever purpose they needed to. Beauty was now in the same place as those horses that he used to see mistreated by various owners. Beauty had now given up hope. He was out of strength, out of courage, and the little hope that always kept him going. One day, As Beauty was standing in the middle of the market to be auctioned, he suddenly caught the eye of a kind farmer and his grandson. That farmer was a dear friend of Farmer Grey, who still lived in the mansion of Square Garden in Birtwick. He immediately went ahead and bought Beauty as the highest price. When Beauty stood weak in front of the farmer whispered in his ears the words that he always wanted to hear, "You're going home." And so it was. After all these disappointments and sadness, Beauty was back in his home, where he spent the rest of his life with his family who truly loved him.